Jared, tell me, what is Rescue Kids?
So Rescue Kids is a not-for-profit organization that helps kids in hopeless, dire situations and gets them out of that situation into a place where they have food, clothing, school, and mentoring so that they can thrive.
Wow.
Without that, they're likely going to end up in trafficking or homeless and on the streets begging. So there's a lot of hope to give them, and we can give those kids a lot of hope.
That's awesome. So how does Rescue Kids actually accomplish that?
Well, we work with local people, and what we always find is the people who are already doing it. So there's a lot of people who are doing it already. They don't have any resources, and so they're able to help maybe 5 or 6 people, and they've been doing a great job.
Yeah.
Like the parable of the talents. Well, if you've done such a great job with these guys, what if we could help with more?
Yeah.
So we help them reach more people because they're already very capable.
That's awesome. And so what are the tangible ways that you actually help them?
So right now on the border of Myanmar, Thailand, with the refugees from the Civil War, those children don't speak Thai.
Okay.
In order to get educated, they need to speak Thai.
Oh, okay.
So our training center there, which these people have built and run at a very high level with the little they have, they take these kids into their school, their training school, teach them Thai so they can get into the actual regular school.
Okay, and what's the benefit of them getting into the regular school?
Well, if they're in the regular school, they start studying, they start learning, they start progressing like normal kids should, and they have opportunity. Without that opportunity, now they're going to be subjected to people coming along, offering them jobs to do sex, all these different things that they're going to be profitable. Okay. And we don't want them.
So they're going to exploit these kids unless they get out of that destitute situation.
We need to make sure that they are focused on progressing and not open up to all of the trafficking that is out there. There's an enormous amount of trafficking. This area has actually become an epicenter of the people headhunting for trafficking.
Wow. So Rescue Kids is coming in to a destitute situation and offering these kids a lifeline.
Right.
Right? And you're doing that through tangible ways.
Right. So
with school is one of them.
Food is one. When you're hungry and you're starving and someone comes along and say, hey, we'll give you this stuff. And you're like, oh, great, I'm starving. You want to take that off the table. Food, school is huge because if they're offering a school in another area and the school isn't what they promised.
Sure.
So you want to make sure that they stay with the family if they have family. A lot of these people do have family. They're just not able to do anything because they're refugees.
Yeah.
And so, but the children are allowed to do all this in Thailand in a very safe place. But then safe. But with the people we have on the ground there who are proven to do awesome work, we can actually help not only the ones they're working with today, but we can help even more because they're limited on resources. We come along and give them more resources to help more people.
Wow. Okay. So the children are in a unique opportunity to be able to transform the lives of their families. But the parents are not in that opportunity.
Parents are not.
Okay.
Yeah, because now the men can find jobs. Some of the jobs they do is they go through the garbage dump that they live in, and they sort through the garbage and look for anything that would have recycle value, or taking the wires, the metal wire out of the electronics, and trying to sell those. Now, once again, if you can actually provide them really good employment, which we've got actually options for them to get better employment too, with the training center. That actually helps them as well. So we focus on the kids, obviously, but it opens the door to the parents who need a lot of help as well.
Wow. So you're transforming families just by focusing on getting the kids into a better situation.
Right. And I don't know about you, but when you have someone who comes along and cares about your kids,
oh, yeah.
Your heart is wide open.
Right. Man, that's incredible. So how did Rescue Kids start? You started in Thailand? Or
no, we started in another country in Asia, and that started with 70 kids. Anita went and found these 70 kids that were hit by an enormous flood. The flood was so bad, they were breaking the dams upstream to save the big cities. and it would wipe out villages.
Wow.
So these kids were caught in these floods, these massive they're all sleeping, and the floods just came in and wiped out the community. Some people survived, some parents survived, some didn't. These children had lost their homes, their fields, everything, and they were not able to pay for school. Anita came along and said, well, she asked the government, well, how can I help you guys? And they said, these kids need school fees. So that's how it initiated. That started with 70 kids. We helped those 70 kids get through high school. We got them through college. They've gone on to do unbelievable things.
Wow, that's incredible.
They're now rescuing the generation now. They're the ones running the whole thing.
That's amazing. So you've got a track record to show that this works.
It works, and it's not complicated. It's actually hard work, but it's incredibly simple. Just caring for people and making sure also the staff and the people who are helping you have a level of excellence. One of the things we noticed when we were in this other country is how many people who came in to provide like gas for your cooking or just providing supplies. They go, wow, this place is so nice. And it was
That's amazing.
bare, but it was because it was clean and the team was expected to have a level of excellence that the community was always shocked when they came in to see what was going on.
Wow. So the compassion goes a long way in
Right.
all of that is what I'm hearing.
Excellence, compassion, love for people. And it is actually very, very simple. It's just hard work.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the difference from saying like, I'm praying for you or like showing up to fix the leak in your roof.
Right.
You know, like, oh, I'm really sorry you're going through that.
Right.
Or you show up with some plaster and some tools and you fix a problem.
Right.
You know, I think that's what I'm hearing. That's the tangible work of Rescue Kids.
Right.
Is that you're not just sending money somewhere. You're actually investing people and time and resources into a place to change the literal conditions of that place.
And speaking of sending the money, one of our core values, we wanted all the money that goes to these kids to be 100% from so if you gave $100, that kid actually had access to all $100 worth of food, clothing, shelter, school. It went to them.
Wow.
Not to admin stuff. So that has been a huge value for us that the people who are helping actually could really build bonds and the money really goes to them. So that's
incredible.
That's why
unheard of, really.
Well, that's what our people ask me, like, well, what is your real estate business do? Well, because I say it's a fundraiser, we want to help cover the admin costs, so that's possible.
Okay.
So every sale we get here is actually helping cover the admin, as well as sponsoring one more child.
So I want to repeat that back from what I understand. You are working a full-time job to support the admin fees of Rescue Kids so that 100% of everything that comes into Rescue Kids goes to those kids.
That's right.
That's incredible. I don't know of any other, I don't know a lot about the inner workings of other organizations, but I've had some exposure. And I would say I don't know of any others in my experience that actually do that. So that, I think for one, that sets you guys apart as something incredibly different. So you told me how it started, these 70 kids, and that multiplied into 1,000, right? And now that generation is doing the work.
They're doing it now. Yeah.
So now you're focusing your work in a new area. You're on the border of Thailand and Myanmar. And there's how many kids in this situation?
The area, there's thousands. We're going to start small.
Okay.
And ironically, the reason we started with 70 there is because they presented us 70 kids. There's 20 kids who they actually speak Thai, and they're actually already ready to go in. The other 50 need to learn Thai, and these are kindergartners.
Oh, wow. So young.
Yes.
So 5, 6.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
And so getting them to learn Thai and then get them into the school as well. So, yeah, that is where we're at, starting small.
Okay.
Now, we've seen the problem, and it's enormous. Like the number of refugees in this area, and it's growing because the Civil War has been going on forever, and they're telling us the horrendous stories of what's going on in Burma, Myanmar.
Yeah.
We have no grit. And so I feel like it's like the reason I'm struggling with trying to explain a lot of this, it's because I'm a little overwhelmed, honestly,
Yeah,
by
sure.
the enormity of the problem. So I have to like focus it down to these 70 kids,
Yeah.
one at a time, like literally one at a time. Okay, let's help this one. Let's help this one. And I know what'll happen because the past experience was started with 70 and then it just kept growing and growing. When people came along and they saw, oh, we can help them too, it's going to grow and grow and grow. So we are starting with these 70 in this spot in Myanmar, Thailand area, so that just get the plant growing.
Yeah. So what's the support like locally for you to do that work in the area? Are you constantly hitting roadblocks or?
Oh, it's completely different than the other place.
Okay.
Like the government there's supportive. We've got 100 churches in this community.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is very unusual. Like the nation of Thailand is 1% Christian.
Mostly Muslim or
Buddhist.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that community is only 100,000 people.
Okay.
And there's 100 churches there.
Wow.
It's like something is set up to really deal with this problem here. Like all of God's army. It's like we need to go to this spot. And as I've got to learn more, I'm actually finding several organizations that are doing amazing work. So the first group we've found has a training center. Mm-hmm. That training center is what I've been talking about, and they've got this infrastructure set up with the refugees in the garbage dump.
Okay.
As I've getting to know, these churches are unified and working at an amazing level of unity, which is,
That's awesome.
we've been around church for a while. It's not normal.
That's great.
Then to see how there's other ministries, I've got a call from a friend in Australia, and they go, oh, wow, we saw that you've been in Thailand. We were just there. I'm like, oh, yeah, where at? Same town.
Wow.
And they told me that the group they're working with, amazing. So once again, I'm looking for people who are doing an amazing work, and I want to make them not famous, but I want to support. I want to make them seen to the world.
Absolutely.
So people can go, can I help? That's, I think the big thing for us and what Rescue Kids is today is we want to make the people on the front lines famous.
Yeah.
At least get known so people can give to them, because they're not fundraisers.
Right.
They're great at helping with kids. They're great at dealing. When you're on the front lines of war, the last thing you need to do is raise money for bullets.
Right. Yeah. You're there doing the work.
Right. And so
the
they are
focus.
on the front lines and they're doing incredible work, and they just don't have, they're not fundraisers. They're not camera people. They need us to come along. So
Yeah.
as I'm finding more and more of these organizations, thinking, wow, and they're kind of centered in this area, really excited to see what can happen from starting with just these 70 kids.
Yeah, that's amazing. So the training center that you're talking about, what does the training center do?
The big one is they have a church right
Okay.
there on the training center, and they're outgrowing it like crazy. So they're actually having to build a much bigger facility to handle people for the services, which will also be used for the training center.
Okay.
And they teach the kids everything right now, until keeping them trained to get into the regular school.
So they're doing all the prep work to get these kids ready to be accepted into a Thai school.
Yeah. Can you imagine? You're I don't know. Let's say what a child from Mexico only speaks Spanish, and he lands in your town, and you say, okay, go to school.
Right.
Well, it doesn't speak English.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of hurdles. And now imagine the child doesn't even have proper clothes and smells really bad, and needs to understand the cultural things of what it takes to go to school.
Sure.
So that's what they are really doing, the practical daily life as well as spiritual.
That's amazing. So this training center has teachers then, or just volunteers? What does that look like?
So I've got a budget for these 70 kids of $90,000 for the year. For all 70 kids.
Wait, so,
and that would include, they need 2 more teachers.
Okay, so 90,000 kids.
70,000. 70 kids.
70 kids, sorry. $90,000.
Yep. And we need, and that will, for 70 kids.
Of 70 kids for 1 year.
Yeah.
And that provides them with training and
school, food, housing.
Wow.
I mean, it's the full package.
So every need met, and does that housing include their families?
Partially.
Okay.
Yeah, partially. It's not fully for them, but really for the children.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
then
amazing.
with that, with the 2 teachers, because you can actually hire 2 really high level teachers with that.
Wow.
So what's crazy, so I was looking at the math for kids in America. On average, if we did the same 70 kids, it would be $1.5 million.
Right. I was going to say, I know what it costs just to feed my kids for a year.
Yeah, and that's just a school.
And I've got 3 of them. And and it's more than that.
Yeah.
So if I were to do that for 3 kids I didn't know here in the U.S., it would be astronomical.
Yeah. And not that we're just trying to find the cheapest place to do it, but the bang for the buck for what we can do and the amount of urgent need is so major return on investment, huge need.
Right.
We got capable, very skilled, quality people there to do the work who also have a track record. Mm-hmm. That's what gets me pretty excited.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so you're accomplishing this work here from the U.S. with a massive team.
Oh, yeah. Me and you.
Yeah. You and your wife, Anita, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So you and Anita are managing all of this.
Yeah.
With partially the income from your day job.
Yeah, and I have to be honest, I'm a little overwhelmed at times.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
So how does someone help then?
Easy. Go to rescuekids.org.
Okay.
We got several ways that people can support. First of all, we need help with the 70 kids. So $60 a month will help each one of these kids.
Okay. So $60 a month sponsors a kid for the year.
Yep. Go to rescuekids.org and you can find the link right there.
Okay.
And by the way, we've actually got the people who collect the money that they don't even take a fee for collecting the money.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's even more amazing.
It is amazing.
So
you
really are getting out what you put in.
Right.
That's fantastic. So, all right. So 60 kids a month, or $60 a month
for a child.
I can sponsor a kid for the entire year.
Yep.
To get them through. And how many years of help do they need?
Well, they're children. So
we're talking 5 and 6 year olds.
So we'd want to get them through high school.
Okay.
And then really so there's the next level. So as we get them in a more stable spot, that's where Dream Builder comes in.
Okay.
So we don't want to just build better terrorists,
right?
Like equip more terrorists. We want to equip these people to hear the voice of God and respond to God, but really build what God wants on the earth. Yeah. So that's the Dream Builder games, which we did in our other place. And ironically, when we took our team from the other place and they were just with the kids there in Thailand, the first thing, and I didn't prepare them, I just said, all right, share with them a little bit about your life. The first thing they shared with them was Dream Builder.
Wow. I
went, wow. I knew it had an impact, but.
And Dream Builder is a program that you have that, from what I understand, essentially trains people to hear from God, focus in on a dream that's in their heart, and execute it.
And build a team around it.
Build a team around it. Bring community around the dream and put it into motion.
And what's beautiful now about what's happening is, so we're not only going to do the Dream Builder games there, we're going to be doing it here in Reading. Mm-hmm. We're going to be doing it in Alaska and also in Hong Kong. And we're going to be putting this online so that everybody can connect with each other, as well as the kids in Thailand who are building dreams.
Wow. So
can you imagine building a dream with a kid in Thailand who says, hey, I got this idea for this unique tool that will solve a huge problem here in Thailand.
So
right?
You're building a multinational community of hope.
Right. Yeah.
is what I'm hearing you say. And that's incredible. So I want to go back to the kids real quick. So someone can help by $60 a month. Yeah. So what else can they do? So I can get a kid in school, right?
Yep.
But as more kids come in, is there enough housing to support all of these kids?
So there's a couple things. One is their own house is being built out of garbage. Can you imagine what it's like when it rains and floods? These houses are being destroyed. So while we were there, my house was leaking, and I just took a picture and sent it to my roofer and kind of joking around, like, what do you think about this roof?
Yeah.
And the lady goes, oh, yeah, by the way, we're raising money to rebuild these homes for them. And I'm thinking, wonder what they cost. My number was American number.
Sure, yeah.
And she goes, well, it'll cost $300 to rebuild these homes. I went, $300? I'm in real estate.
Like $300 a month?
No, total. That to rebuild their structure that keeps them dry.
So $300 a month to provide him a place to live.
A structure with
or $300
walls,
just total.
A roof, $300 total.
Total.
Build a roof, walls, supports, floor, everything.
That's incredible.
And they have a home.
And they have a home.
That's not built by garbage.
So you're taking a refugee out of the dump who's living literally in garbage.
Yep.
And putting them in a permanent structure. Permanent-ish.
Yeah.
In a safe,
better
home.
A non-garbage structure.
Yeah, for $300.
Right.
Wow.
And that's part of that $90,000 I mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I could give a one-time gift to rescue kids
for $300.
and I would know that a kid's got a place to live.
Yeah.
Or I could give $60 a month
and take care of a kid every month.
And take care of a kid and know that they're going to have clothes and water and food and training.
Right.
And
school books, tutoring.
Wow. Okay.
Mentor, overseeing them, everything.
What else can I do? Because so far I'm up to $360.
If people want to support a teacher, so a teacher is $750, and that teacher becomes a hero. That is like, wow. I was just at Risen King on Sunday, and hearing Cole talk about this man that was in his life that made, like, they surprised him and put a picture of him on the screen, and he goes, I wish someone had told me that, and he just broke down crying because. Wow. That's what these people do. I was talking to the kids who met us in Thailand, and they were telling us about the mentors. And I'm just like, no way. Can you believe that these guys, they are incredible heroes. And they're still going. They're still doing it.
That's awesome. So $750 a month.
Takes care of these teachers who teach them English, Thai, all the basic things. But also look over them and take care of them.
So they've got an advocate.
Right.
They've got someone who's actually...
And they're college educated.
Right.
And we intentionally... They actually gave us a lower number. And I said, that's great, but what if we hired somebody really good who's very capable? Well, you'd have to pay $750 then. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about someone at the highest level of helping children.
Wow. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, you're providing world-class excellence to kids whose current existence is living in a dump.
Yeah.
Who have no hope for a future.
Right.
And you need so little to do that in our current world.
Right.
That's so small. So I don't know if you've got the math broken down on this, but if you need $90,000, is that a year?
Yeah.
$90,000 a year. I mean... How many people would you really need to accomplish that?
Depends on the school teachers if people broke that up. But really, if you had it, that's 20 houses because not all of them need new houses.
Okay.
That's 2 teachers. And so...
And all their food and water and clothing.
100 people could take care of that.
Wow. I mean, that's incredible. So... 100 people could take care of that. 200 people could even easily take care of that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's amazing for such an incredible transformation. If I'm looking at it from just a numbers ROI perspective,
right.
I don't know of a better opportunity.
This is why I can't sleep at night because I'm angry at the situation. I'm excited about the solution.
Right.
And it's overwhelming me at times, but it is like I saw what happened, and I fought and kicked because I didn't think Anita knew what she was talking about for a lot of it. And we had it was our first year of marriage, going through all that and trying to figure out like what are we doing. But when at the end of the story, I was blown away. I went, oh man, thank you God that I didn't fight with her on this.
Yeah.
This was like I know if I haven't done anything more in my life, what we did there was worth it.
Yeah.
Like my life was worth it.
And now you have an opportunity to do it again.
And on a scale that is, we have the gloves are off. The country is welcoming us to do this.
So you don't have government restrictions on what
No.
you're doing. You're not going to get kicked out for this work.
We don't have to worry about we said something on a podcast and we're going to get tracked down, which we have.
Mm-hmm. So you just have this open opportunity in front of you, and the only thing you need is people to come alongside you and help.
Yeah.
Because it's you and Anita right now.
Right.
Doing the work and figuring out how to bankroll it.
Right. Yeah. And then the other aspect of giving is I don't expect people to give a lot for the general fund, but it'd be great.
Sure.
Because we can always use it. I got a $10 army thing that if people want to give $10 and that's what they got, awesome. Imagine if you had a bunch of people just all giving $10 and chipping into the overhead of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to refer a real estate client, anybody looking to buy a home or sell a home anywhere in the United States, that money can be used to help cover the overhead as well. And it doesn't cost people anything. It's just like, oh, I got a friend.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're providing an actual resource on this side of the world.
Yeah.
And helping people buy and sell homes.
Yeah. And hopefully they get a legacy building property that's going to, like for us, all our properties have created legacy for us.
That's incredible. I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. Hearing you explain it like that, just knowing like there's this massive need to help all these kids with a really small gap to make that happen. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, to me, that's just a no-brainer type of opportunity that you can walk into that. And like you said, $10 army. And
yeah.
Like $10. I mean, I'm going to spend more than that on a burrito. And you know, right. I love my burritos.
Breakfast burritos are good.
But I would give up a burrito for that every month. Yep. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So I think that's the call right there is like, I mean, what's worth more than helping these kids? But you can take a small amount of what you have, even if what you have is a small amount, you can take that and have such a huge impact.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anywhere else where I can do that with $10 or $60, you know, or $300 to build a house.
Right.
I can't even hardly get someone to come to my house to look at the potential of fixing something for less than $300.
Right. Yep.
If they show up.
Right.
So,
right.
That's absolutely amazing, man. So what else do you want? What else do you want to see here? Why do you want to do this so bad? Like, what about it? I mean, you've told me a little bit, like you can't sleep. You're so excited.
Yeah.
But what is it about helping these kids that's just burning in you?
If my kids were kidnapped today and taken away, I wouldn't have any drive to do real estate or sell it. Let me go show more homes. Like, no, I'm going to go find my kids.
Right.
And this happened to me before on the first time going to the other country. I actually had like this dream where my child, and I wasn't married at the time, I didn't have kids, but I had a child that had been kidnapped. And in the dream, I just dropped everything and had to go rescue them.
Wow.
And so that's kind of where it's just like these kids, they're my kids. I don't have any explanation. It's weird because they're not my kids.
Yeah.
But they're my kids, and I know I'm responsible for them. And if I don't do this, imagine if your own kid was. That's kind of where it's at. That's what's driving me here now.
Yeah, I mean, this whole time you've been talking, I've been picturing my own children.
Yeah,
you know, I've got an 8, 6, and 4-year-old. I'm picturing them in this terrible situation, thinking that there is nothing I wouldn't do to get them out of that situation.
Right.
And so I totally get where you're coming from with that, because, you know, I mean, I know your kids are grown,
right? And
you've fought this fight for so long while you've already done this in another country, taking care of all of these unexpected blessings and children that came into your life. And now you're seeing them doing the same thing with you in Thailand. These kids who had no hope in this other country, devastated by a flood, and now here they are providing the same thing that God made a pathway for you to do in their lives. And that's legacy. I mean, that's amazing. You know, that's actual transformation. That's pretty rare to see.
Well, it's kind of funny to think back to those kids when we first met them. I met them in a restaurant. So we go into this village restaurant, and Holy Spirit says to me, take a mental picture of this with your nose and with your eyes. And I'm looking and I smell the room. Like, oh, and I just was looking at how dirty these kids are. My thought was, nothing can come from these kids.
Wow.
That was my thought.
Sure.
But like,
yeah.
What are we dealing with here?
Yeah. You're looking at a hopeless situation.
Oh, it was pretty bad. And so that thought was burned in my head because it was like I stood at the doorway and took it all in. 15 years later, they're getting married. One of them's getting married, and they all show up. And as they're walking in, they're dressed like movie stars walking on the red carpet. And I remember just like almost like I had to control myself as I'm hugging them. Like, what? I almost gave up on these people.
Wow.
Yeah, and they have businesses, and they've college degrees and kids. Like, wow.
That's legacy, man.
Yeah, it was wild.
That's
and
incredible.
I know, so now I'm like, okay, I know how this game works.
Yeah.
Like what those millionaires say is like the hardest million is the first million.
Sure.
That's why I feel like, okay, that first 70 going to 1,000, that was hard. But now we know what to expect. We know it's going to be hard, but we can get it done.
Right.
And I know what the result will be.
Yeah. You're going to transform
Right.
a lot of lives.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's incredible. So anybody can go to rescuekids.org.
Yep.
And find an easy way to get involved and help this amazing work.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that's a no-brainer for me.
That's our call right now. We need your help. Mm-hmm. We can't do this alone.
Right.
Yeah.
This vision is a lot bigger than JR and Anita.
Yeah, which it's God.
Right.
and Anita and I have appealed to God many times. Like, really? Do we have to do? And I feel like now God's saying, how about we do it this way? And we got a new way of like letting friends really know. So thank you for doing this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll say everybody go to rescuekids.org and help this amazing work. Right now it's 2 people who are partnering with people on the front line doing the work with little to nothing.
Yeah.
And with a small investment, you can transform hundreds to, if not thousands of kids' lives.
Right.
So thank you for doing that work and for giving the opportunity to everybody else to help.
Well, it's team.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely, man.
Good times. Think we got it?
Dude, great.